Hi, so today we are going to talk about time management, which is one of the most important skills which a person should have. Now, we are going to first of all define time management, then recognize the roadblocks to effective time management and advantages of overcoming them. Then we're going to talk about the personality styles and behaviors. And at the last part, we are going to talk about the steps to initiate time management techniques. Now, let's talk about what is time management. Time management is the prioritization, scheduling, and execution of daily responsibilities to a level of personal satisfaction, which means in order for you to have a good time management, you need to first of all know what you need to do first. A lot of times we have things which we need to do, but they are secondary or tertiary. So we can do things which are urgent and much more important than other things. Second thing is scheduling. Before having your day going on, you need to put a schedule to yourself so that you are somehow capable of doing the things that you need to do. And therefore, a schedule should be set before the start of every day. And the execution of daily responsibilities, majority of us have a lot of things which we do it on daily basis. For example, you as students know that each day from 7:30 till around 12:30 you are at school. So you shouldn't put anything else during that time because you know that you cannot do it. Now, it is also the effective time management does not mean you have more time, and this is a very important point. It means you make better use of the time that you have because our time is limited. We have 24 hours. We cannot put a schedule of more than 25 hours, or sorry, 24 hours, such as 25 hours. This is why it's very crucial for us to know what to do in each minute of our lives. And another important point is that time management doesn't really get you more time, it just somehow organizes your time. Other roadblocks to effective time management, as in what keeps us away from managing our times mm, very efficiently. First of all, is rationalization, is finding good reason for things that we really know we should be doing, yet we don't do it. For example, I won't know where anything is if I clean my house. We all know that when you clean your house, or your desk, or your office, or any place that you are, it's very vital for you to do it. And it makes things clearer to you. And a lot of people like somehow messy rooms and messy desks, and this is because they are used to it. They don't know the benefits of having a very well organized emplacement, which is one of the best things that one can do. Second thing is procrastination. Procrastination is the habit of putting tasks off the last possible minute. Can be a major problem in both your career and your personal life. For example, you'd say to yourself, I will do it later. But we all know that later becomes a later as well. So it's not la- very much, uh, or let's say it's not very intelligent for you to do this because what if something happens during the last minute? I know that on social media, people are saying that when you procrastinate and you do your things at the last minute, you are more creative and all that. It might be true, and there are a lot of publications, scientific publications on this. But in all cases, it doesn't mean that you should do it because not everyone is as creative as others. That's why it's very vital for us to do it. Now, another point for rationalization, because before going to the next slide, is the fact that now you were talking about your rooms at home, but what if we are talking about your offices? Now, you might be here today, but maybe tomorrow you're not. So if it is very messy, even though you know all the places of all the papers, another person who is your colleague will not know it. So that's why you should think about the organization and not yourself. That's why organizing the papers and organizing everything at work especially is very crucial. The advantages of effective time management. First of all, it reduces stress because if you keep everything to the last minute, you are very stressful in achieving them and completing them. So, if you manage your time effectively, you no longer need to do it. Another point is gaining time. When you have a very good schedule and you input everything which you need to do and are important for you to do, then you gain time, a lot of time. There's another exercise which we are going to do at the end of the chapter, which really shows how much of time you gain by just putting a schedule. It reduces avoidance, of course, and it promotes reviews and eliminates cramming. Now, these 2 points are quite necessary and very obvious for time management because if you have more time, then you can review your work. For example, if you had sat for an exam and you have 45 minutes to do the exam, for instance, and you finish in 35 minutes, then it means you still have 10 minutes for you to revise and review your answers. You never know. What if you know the answer, but unintentionally you've put the wrong answer to a wrong question? Or, for example, what if it is in mathematics and you have just missed a sign, a very small sign? It will change everything. So that's why it's very important for you to do that. You should also stay motivated because when you have time to do things, then you are motivated in doing them in a better way. And you avoid procrastination, which is keeping everything to the last minute and saying that I will do it later on, which we all know that majority of times we don't have the time to do it. And also we have feelings of confidence and self-empowerment because we know what we need to do each minute. Yeah, so this really helps someone to really have an effective time management. Now, this next around 20 slides are about the personality styles and behaviors. Now, in this slide, we are going to talk about 6 targeted behaviors, and then we are going to talk about the combination of 1+ behaviors, which is equal to less efficient time management. Um, some of us some of us have a lot of behaviors, and you might have more than one behavior, depends on the situation, but still we have one which is dominant. So that's when you get to know what style and behaviors you do related to time management. Now we are going to talk about first of all the type A personality, which is about time urgency, anger, hostility, a lack of planning, and polyphasia. Now, as you can see here, you have a person who went to an MD and he's doing a check. And he's saying, as in the doctor is saying, your problem, Mr. Vittel, is that you're a type A personality in a Model T body. As you can see, he is not very well in shape, but apparently he wants to be in shape, but he doesn't want to get into shape by working on himself. So this is a bit somehow sarcastic and a sophisticated matter which everyone needs to talk about to himself. Second one, which is the workaholism personality. This is about the people who are very much into their work and they want to overcome everything by excelling in their work. And workaholics especially spend around 10 to 14 hours, let's say, at work compared to the average of 8 hours a day for a normal person. And it's very important to note here that the little tasks are done between 9 till 5, which are the normal working hours, but the big projects which have the most important outcomes are done after the official working hours. Then, even if you are doing it willingly, a lot of workaholics complain about it. They say, "Oh, I'm staying late till till 9 or 10 p.m. I don't have my life. My work is getting into my life and all that." But in fact, they really enjoy it because no one somehow is forced to stay at work on a daily basis. You might do it once or twice if it's very necessary, but a lot of people do it on daily basis, which is very bad because you will no longer have your personal life and you cannot really live in this way. The third one is the time juggler personality, which is the fact that people do more than one task at a time. These individuals take on more than one task at a time, as I said. And for example, let me give you an example, which is doing makeup and talking on the cell phone while driving the car. And this is something that I personally can see people doing while I'm going at work, while I'm at work or going to work. Um, so really, we do it. Or for example, you are both studying and I know chatting, which we all know that isn't a very effective way of doing things. Now we have scheduling conflict, which makes plans to be at two places at one time, and we all know that we cannot do that. And we overbook or double book in case of cancellations. Yeah, and we bargain for time. We aspire to have more time to do things, and all these are related to the other parties and to ourselves. We cannot be at two places at the same time. So we need to really, I know, to really think about it and about what we're doing in our lives when someone is a time juggler. Procrastinator personality is very easily understood because there are factors which affect on procrastination. For example, you have laziness or apathy. You don't have, I know, the will of doing anything. It's not just because you don't have the time, but you don't are lazy and you don't really care about doing things. And nowadays, a lot of students are in this or are defined as per this personality, and this really is creating a big problem in classrooms and in the educational system. If I ask you now, what do you do when you go home? The majority of you will say that I sleep, I play on video games, I know, do some sports, I chat, but very few of you will say that I go home, I eat, and then I relax a bit, and at the end I study. Very few. So this doesn't mean that you don't have enough time. In fact, you do have time, but the idea is that you're a procrastinator and you don't really care about things. And majority of times you don't do it because you say that even if I do it, I will fail, which is the fact of the fear of failure, which I personally don't recommend. You cannot fail unless you try, and even if you try, it doesn't mean that you have failed. So because you tried it, at least it's better than nothing. So you should always try it, and you need, for example, if you are a procrastinator, need for instant gratification, and this is something I personally face as a teacher. If someone says a correct answer, which is a very obvious answer, they ask for +1, or I know, for somehow a type of gratification. If they score high grades as a class, they need gratification on that instant, which is something that they already need to do. Yeah, so it's not something that they're doing just because of something. No, it's something that they already need to do, and unfortunately, in our culture, this is something which is very much apparent, and this is why a lot of problems rise. Now we have three types of procrastinators, and we are talking much about the procrastination problem because it's one of the most important problems facing the effectiveness of time management. First of all, we have the straightforward procrastinator, which knowingly doing something other than the task needed to be done. You have to study, you go and play. You know that you need to study, but you prefer going to play because you say, let me play for an hour or two, which usually takes more than an hour or two, and then I do it. The second one is the deception procrastinator. This person tries tasks but finds excuses to leave them until the last minute. You start doing something, let's suppose a puzzle, but you say, oh, this will take a lot of time, and then you just quit doing it. The third one is the time trap procrastinator, does easy tasks first, leaving hard ones together at the end. For example, suppose you have 3 quizzes in the same day, which hardly happens, and you have some homeworks. You start with your homeworks, you say that let me finish my homeworks and then I do it. So this is not a very good way of doing it. That's why it's one of the traps that you fall in procrastination. Another type of personality is the perfectionist personality, and this person is usually obsessed with carrying out every responsibility perfectly. Especially when you are working in a group, we can find some people who say, "No, I will do everything. You don't know to do it." And this doesn't mean that it's correct. Maybe it is, but I doubt it because everyone has his or her own, creativity and ability of doing things in a different way. So these people want to do everything in perfection, but perfection is very subjective, and we know that we cannot reach perfection. So what is perfect for someone might not be perfect to another person. And these people are very much into details that they forget about the main problem that we are facing and trying to solve. And they really think that perfection is possible. And here there's a very nice um, picture below, and two angels are talking to each other. And you spend 5.70 years, 73 years of your life deleting spam from your email, for instance. Yeah. So this is something which is very ironic, and it's unnecessary. Nothing will happen if you keep some emails in your spam. Now, this is the last type of the behaviors and personality that people have. It's a lifestyle behavior trap personality. It's about hard time saying no to others. You say yes to everyone, and this really causes big problems because you don't have enough time to yourself. And these people are usually nice people and codependent. You can rely on them to work with you, not alone, of course, but with you. And unfortunately, these people get somehow alienated of their rights. And these people also have self validation and self worth needed by others. Yeah, a lot of people get into their teams, people who are somehow in this lifestyle behavior trap personality, just so that they get praises from these people. And as I said, you may feel, if you are from this type, you may feel victimized, um, because everyone will somehow depend on you, and they will not care if you are happy or satisfied of what you're doing, so because they know that you will help them. Now we'll discuss about the types of personalities, and I would like you to take some minute, uh, I know, let's say 10 minutes, so that you think about it and think about which personality style you are, and write a small essay on why do you think you're in that way, and try providing some solutions. Talk about it in the majority of talk about it in the in general, and then talk about yourself. And this essay is a graded work, which will be around 10% of your total grade for the term. Good luck.